The Yu-Gi-Oh anime series has always had a rather interesting relationship with fighting and or physical violence. While one might think this is the last thing you'd find in a show about card games, nearly all of the first 6 mainline anime series have at least one example of someone straight up getting punched in the face. This is especially true for Duel Monsters and 5Ds. Despite everything in these shows pretty much revolving around a children's card game, I actually think that it does make some sense to throw hands every now and again when you have storylines and arcs that revolve around the fate of the universe, saving a beloved family member / friend, or just taking down an oppressive authoritarian government. With all that said, fighting an IRL Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you can face real life consequences, yeah, that doesn't make much sense at all. Enter the world of Springfield, Missouri, where apparently the local Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelists are just built differently. Here the duelists don't settle things using trivial means such as life points or the battle phase, but instead use their fist. Or so one player by the name of Haven Burkhart must have clearly thought, as he was either having his worst day ever or he was impersonating a rare hunter and took things way too seriously. Before I go into what happened, I would like to point out there were numerous witnesses to these events, one of which publicly gave their account of things on social media. In addition, this was also reported on by the local Springfield News, KY3. So I think that there's more than enough valid sources to prove exactly what went down. This all happened about a week ago at a local shop where Haven Burkhart was playing at a locals tournament. According to other sources on the internet, and I mainly mean Yu-Gi-Oh! Paisano, who also covered this event, side note, I'll link both of his videos in the description below, Burkhart was well known at this locals and had a reputation for being, well, pretty terrible at the game, despite always playing the best decks. For the record, Haven Burkhart was playing Snake Eye at this specific locals and had apparently lost to Altergeist of all things, which, let's be real here, if you're playing a borderline tier 0 deck and you're out here losing to Altergeist, I think that it's safe to say you either don't know how to play the deck properly or you are just bad at Yu-Gi-Oh! Burkhart was also known for being a quote-unquote meth head and also apparently routinely hanging out with some pretty shady friends. According to eyewitness accounts, it was round 4 when Burkhart and his opponent Jordan were dueling. Jordan had just finished his turn and the duel was getting relatively low on time. He passed turn to Burkhart with over 3 minutes to play, who started playing slowly. For all the strictly Master Duel players out there, this is a commonly used tactic in the TCG to attempt to use all the remaining time in a duel without giving your opponent another turn. The reason you do this is so that they can't immediately go to battle phase to kill you or gain the life point lead, which of course would result in them winning the duel. It was clear to Jordan and everyone else watching the duel what Burkhart was trying to do, so Jordan kindly asked him, quote, "Hey, can you please play faster since it's almost time in the round?" To which Burkhart replied, quote, "Nah, can you shut the F up though?" It should be obvious, but he did not say F. In fact, he used a different 4-letter word, but I try not to swear in my videos. Moving along, Jordan responded with, quote, "Well, you're slow playing," which must have struck a nerve with Burkhart because he went full rage mode and replied with, quote, "Well, how about I punch your teeth then?" Everyone watching this video already knows that by this point alone, Burkhart had not only completely crossed the line by threatening to punch his opponent and also being a disrespectful douche when Jordan simply asked him to play faster because they were close to time, but such actions can and should warrant both a Konami suspension to his costly ID for all organized play, but also a local card shop banning. I have no idea what type of man-child mentality or maturity it must take to want to attack someone over a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel, let alone when all your opponent did was simply ask you to play a little bit faster. I mean, there was zero provocation, zero taunting, no trash talking, or anything of the sort. If he had simply stopped, Burkhart probably would have gotten away with just being banned from this shop for making threats. But predictably, he took every possible action imaginable to make the situation worse. As Jordan felt threatened by Burkhart saying he was going to punch him, and the fact that he had now stood up, Jordan swiftly called 911 to contact the police. Other players at this locals then went to alert the store owner of the situation so that he could intervene. During that time, Burkhart walked to the store's front counter, returned the playmat that he had borrowed for the tournament, and then told the lady at the register, quote, "Give me my prize pack now." The lady working the front register had no idea of the situation and simply responded, quote, "Well, I'm about to do prize support in a moment." At this time, the store owner walked up and after asking Burkhart a few questions, told him that he was banned not only from this store, but from all his card shops in the area and that he never wanted to see him step foot in here again. This is just my opinion, but personally, I think Burkhart probably just should have taken that as a win and left. So instead, of course, he did the exact opposite and demanded his entry packs. After the store owner refused, saying, quote, "You need to leave before this gets worse," Burkhart went one step further in his bad decision making by putting his hand on the owner and shoving him out of the way as he reached over the counter to forcibly grab packs from the prize pool. Unfortunately for him, this was a terrible decision for many reasons, including the fact that the store owner Jason was formerly in the military. Jason said, quote, "You done effed up now, MFer," as he picked Burkhart off the ground and slammed him to the floor to subdue him as 3 local police officers showed up, tackled Burkhart, and put him in handcuffs. Quick side note, I know that generally speaking I refuse to curse in my videos, but Jason going full Samuel Jackson on Burkhart is easily my favorite part of this entire story. According to the local KY3 News, Burkhart was arrested for first-degree burglary, possession of a controlled substance, so yeah, it looks like he really was a meth head after all, attempted stealing, and 4th-degree assault. He was booked by the Webster County Sheriff's Office, where he received this lovely mugshot, which, let's be honest, as a YouTuber, I would be remiss if I did not use as the thumbnail for this video. But with all that said, before Burkhart was booked and put in a jail cell, unbelievably, things got even worse for him. Remember how I said at the beginning that Burkhart had been hanging around some questionable company? Well, that questionable company caught the eye of the arresting officers, presumably while they were taking Burkhart to the police car. As it stands, Burkhart went to locals with a friend who happened to be hanging out in the car. And that friend also happened to have an outstanding bench warrant for failure to appear in court and was also arrested on the spot. While apprehending Burkhart's friend, police conducted a search of his car and found drug paraphernalia. Burkhart told police and EMS that he had shot up heroin 45 minutes before the Yugioh locals and that he was overdosing during the rage. Although, in actuality, it maybe could have been a completely different drug, such as, I don't know, maybe cocaine, which police also found in Burkhart's wallet. This guy is insane. Burkhart was being held on a $50,000 bond and is set to appear in court on July 23rd. Whether or not the drugs influenced Burkhart's, rampage and tirade that he went on at the locals, I think it's safe to say that he won't be playing Yu-Gi-Oh in that area for a long time, nor do I think that any shop should want to let him attend considering such an incident. Threatening to attack his opponent, tried to steal prize support, fought with a store owner, caught with cocaine in his wallet, high off heroin the entire time it's going on. Yeah, that's the type of player I don't want in my community, especially if I have young kids around. This guy was literally speedrunning how to make yourself a real-life Yu-Gi-Oh supervillain, and honestly, I think that he was succeeding better than anyone could have ever imagined. So my takeaway from easily one of the craziest Yu-Gi-Oh stories that I have heard all year is don't go to locals while you're high on drugs, and honestly, don't do anything that Haven Burkhart did on this day, because that is just absolutely absurd. Anyways, whatever you guys thought about any of this, you leave that in the comment section below, and thank you guys for watching as always.